ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World or over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. You know, I'm kind of a klutzy person, so I've said "uh-oh" a lot in my life. I've said "uh-oh" a lot on this show because I may have said the wrong name, the wrong show. We all may have said "uh-oh" a lot, but you know what? I'm not going to say "uh-oh" to our next two guests because our next two guests have done a lot of work here in New York City. If you're Kendal and you've seen all the Broadway and all the theater and all of the work that has been done. If you're Austin, work everywhere. If you read the bio, the bios are below right now. Click the link and see their bio. Go to their social media and then buy tickets, people. What we've got for you is the gym at Judson. 2 shows, June 14th and June 15th. You got to get your tickets. What is it? Well, we're going to find out right now from them, from their mouths themselves. Kendal and Austin are here making their Roundtables debut. They're here.
Hello.
We're so excited to be here.
I'm so excited for you all to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kendal, do you ever go in an elevator and hear Donna Summer music and do you smile or do you cry? Are you excited?
That's a really good question. If you'd asked me that question 5 years ago, I would say I'd cry, but enough time has passed that I smile when I hear Donna Summer music.
I smile when I hear Donna Summer music too. And I'm so excited to have you both here. And Kendal, I'm not kidding. Your bio, you have worked, and Austin, you have worked. Like y'all are out here working.
We've been doing it.
We've done our best, yeah.
So before we get talking about and Austin, where are you originally from and how did you find your way into New York City?
Oh man, I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota. So very, very far from the bustling Big Apple. But I fell in love with Broadway. You know, my family took trips to New York a few times, and I just, it was seeing the original productions of Les Mis. Beauty and the Beast was my first Broadway show. I saw Rent. I saw the first national tour of Rent in Minneapolis, and then later saw it on Broadway. That changed my life. And also like the PBS broadcasts of Into the Woods and Sunday, discovering Sondheim really changed my life. So that just, from far, far away, I just knew that I wanted to be an artist and to be in performance. And there were fortunately lots of cool opportunities in Fargo growing up, and I had amazing friends and ended up here in New York.
Who knew? I think of Fargo as the movie and the TV show. And that's my only, Beauty and the Beast was my first Broadway show.
Oh, amazing.
You look like you're 25 years younger than me. So.
Oh, no. That's very sweet. I just celebrated my 40th birthday about 2 weeks ago. So a little.
And I'm 41. So that makes sense because then we would go see Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. I gotcha. And Kendal, where did you grow up?
I am originally from Spokane, Washington.
Where did you all come from?
Exactly. And Spokane, I mean, I'm from even further. So it took national tours was my real first introduction to like big shows. And we had a pretty thriving community theater scene in Spokane also. And I was lucky enough, we had a professional summer stock company across one state line in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And I started working there when the summer I turned 16. So that was my first season of summer stock that year in Idaho, of all places. But we made our way to each other in Boston in drama school at the Boston Conservatory. And then from there on to New York. But yeah, Spokane it's far. It takes a while to get there.
They just dropped Boston. We met at Boston Conservatory. Is that what really led you all then to take it seriously, go to a conservatory, and then make your way to New York?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Austin, was your family like terrified that you were going to leave Fargo to come to the East Coast?
I think they were a little bit. They've not confused, maybe slightly bewildered. My parents are, my dad is in real estate and owns and runs several businesses that he founded himself. Very impressive person, but not an artist, and that's not his passion at all. And same with my mom; she's an accountant. And so I think when I really fell in love with music and theater, they were incredibly supportive parents and came to see all my shows and volunteered at the high school summer theater that I lived for. before. And yeah, and I think they to their eternal credit, when I said I want to go to drama school, I was such a good academic. I had a 4.0. I had, incredibly high standardized test scores because that's just my brain works that way. And so when I said those things don't matter, I'm going to go to drama school and study theater, they were like, you know what, if that's what you want to do, okay. And they've been really lovely and supportive. And it's been cool in my professional career being able to do things like direct a national tour, and then now A Beautiful Noise is going to come to Minneapolis, which is close to Fargo, next year, and to be like, hey, look, I really did it, you guys. Like, I'm out here doing the thing.
You are out here, and you are out here really doing the thing. And and go see A Beautiful Noise. You guys were here in Detroit over Christmas. So this is not about me, so I apologize, but I moved from New York City and New Jersey. I grew up in Fort Lee, New Jersey 8 years ago. No, scratch that. 8 months ago to Detroit to marry my husband.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And when I got married and I moved here, everyone said that art will die and I'll never see a show again. And what I learned, because they're all from New York, is that touring companies and the work that you both have done on tour is really important to the preservation of musicals and theater, because
absolutely,
we don't have access to it around the country.
Yes.
I mean, national tours were really my first exposure to Broadway, the experience of a big musical. I was, going to see a national tour in my hometown. Luckily, we would get them. We wouldn't get the first year, but we would get them in Spokane, maybe second year, maybe third.
So if you saw the band's visit tour, you might have seen Kendal, and if you see Austin, his work, A Beautiful Noise, on tour, and Nick Fradiani was here, and all of the people that have done this show they're so good. Okay, enough about all of my because I love a backstory, especially with
same exposition. It's my jam.
Spokane and Fargo, and now I'm obsessed. But you all have this brand new show called coming to New York City. So much talk about maybe you'll be on tour one day, Spokane.
Hey, we should be so lucky.
Yeah.
So whose idea was it, and how do you because there's like music that we know, and there's what is this?
A little crazy, yeah.
Great question. It's a little out there. It's sort of, we've begun to describe it as a performance art cabaret through the lens of a public radio pledge drive. That's its sort of container. So it's got almost a form you might expect from a cabaret performance. There's a lot of songs that you're going to recognize that I'll be performing, but we're sort of exploding the form and making it a little stranger and a little less expected, based on a lot of the inspiration we've taken from companies like Elevator Repair Service and the Worcester Group and performance artists like Joan Jonas, who really inspire us. We're like, wait a minute, let's take something and turn it on its head a little bit and explore the things that we're excited about exploring. It's an idea that I had sort of germinating, I think last summer was when I started plotting. And I didn't write the script until January. And then once I wrote the script, we sort of were off to the races with it.
Yeah, I think Kendal and I both, as people who, as we were talking about, we've been fortunate to be a part of the Broadway community, commercial theater, doing these big shows, and that's incredible, and we love it. But we also have a love for this, the stuff that's maybe a little quirkier, a little more downtown, smaller audiences, more experimental, and we've both done work in that community as well. So this show is, a launching point for us to hopefully be able to kind of marry those two worlds and do stuff that it might not be, it might not be in a Broadway theater, it might not be for the biggest audience, but to bring the Broadway sensibility downtown and to explore some of these passions and experiments that we've wanted to make for years.
I think that sounds so exciting. All the cool, fun stuff is happening off Broadway and downtown. I shouldn't say that too loud, but it's true, people. It's so much fun, and the work that's done downtown, and it's really where the next generation of great arts and work, and 10 years from now, when someone discovers this genre that was created downtown and becomes a hit, is really what happens. It moves. So how do you all work together? I mean, we know each other.
You
know each other. So is it how do you develop things together and be together, and do you argue together? Do you make up? Do you separate?
Above. I mean, we are sort of a unique kind of person in that we've been together for 1,000 years, roughly.
Since ancient times.
We got together our freshman year of college.
And you survived college together?
And we survived college
together.
A lot of things. We've survived a lot of things.
Have you ever I'm not trying to be like Barbara Walters.
Oh, please.
No, it's fine.
Did you ever have a break, or you
We did have a break. We took a 6-month break right after we graduated.
Was it
because
horrible?
I was on the national tour of Cats. So I had to
Kendal
go
was
off and do
gone.
my own thing.
It was I would say, without getting too biographical, although there's a lot of story to that, just you could do a whole other episode about just Kendal and her experience with cats. But I think it was an important moment in our lives. And I think, when we came back together and built this life that we now have, I think it was good that at, 21 years old that we were able to figure ourselves out for just a moment.
Yeah, to go be our own people for a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's essential. And then with coming back together, we've been lucky enough, we haven't done much work together recently. We worked together quite a bit when we were in conservatory together. And it's nice because we had the same training background. So we have a shorthand a little bit when we work together. We have a similar way of working. We're interested in a lot of the same things. We understand process in the same way. And we worked together professionally for the first time on my Broadway debut on A Clear Day You Can See Forever, which Austin was the assistant director of, which was a real thrill.
Austin, firstly, I love that song. Secondly, I love that show. Thirdly, Austin, I'm not trying to belittle Kendal and her amazing talent.
You better not.
I'm not. No, I'm not trying to. Not at all. And I also think I've been in my feelings about like high school and college romance because I watched this show Forever on Netflix, which is like
I gotta watch that. Yeah. Judy Blume.
Oh, my little heart. Because, those first little loves and heartbreaks. And I just picture Austin and Kendal and how they thought it was all over when college was ending. And now look at them all these 1,000 years later. So Austin, to be on Broadway, a performer is like finding, a needle in a haystack. But to be a director on Broadway, an associate director and tours and et cetera, is even more rare. I mean, there could be 40 people in a giant company of a Broadway show and there's still one director and one. So what was your journey like to becoming why did you choose to be a director?
Well, I'll try to be brief because again, directors, like we could talk about this and I could just monologue at you for 2 hours. But like, the thing, when we were in drama school together, luckily the Boston Conservatory had a very cool program where basically you got to choose a little major within the theater department. And so I did directing. Actually, I did double. I did directing and acting, but directing became my focus. And I suddenly because I was always, I was reading books about theater. I read, when I discovered Sondheim as a teen, I read literally every single book I could find about it. I would go to Barnes and Noble in Fargo and just I read the Meryl Seacrest biography and so many, what is that amazing book that the musicologist wrote about it, and so many interviews. Anyway, so I was so interested in the craft of how these things, these like Sunday in the Park with George, how they were made. So when I discovered directing in college, I suddenly was like, wait, I get to use all of these things, like not just being on stage and thinking about the acting, which I loved, but every aspect of it. So I moved to New York, had no idea what I was doing, but I wanted to be a director. And to make a longish story short, I ended up writing a letter to the Broadway director I admired most of all, which is Michael Mayer. Michael had just won a Tony for Spring Awakening. And I wrote him a letter and said, basically, I think you're incredible. His work on Spring Awakening, as we all know, was just astonishing, as is his work pretty much on everything. But I said, anything, I would love to work for you, anything, any opportunity, please, please, please. And again, trying to make a longer story short, several months later, he called me out of the blue and said, I actually am looking for a new assistant. So I had a meeting with him, then another meeting, and then he ended up hiring me. And that began, the most important relationship of my professional life, which is to say he's been a dear friend, collaborator, and mentor to me for 15 years now. We've made, 5 shows together on Broadway, tours, all of these things, a Little Shop of Horrors, which we did together, and I'm the resident director there now. Like, it's just, he's been, it's truly through him that I had my first big steps into being a professional director, and certainly being fortunate enough to work on these incredible Broadway shows with him, American Idiot and Everyday Rapture. We mentioned Clear Day and Head Over Heels, which was a really special. Actually, you can see the poster right here behind us. So it was really through Michael, and I have so much gratitude for him as an artist and as a friend. That's how it all happened to me.
And Michael Mayer is the reason I got my equity card.
That's true.
Because of On a Clear Day, we did a New York stage and film production, and I was the only non-union member at the time, and they gave me my union card.
They gave you your card.
Mm-hmm.
That story, see, Peppermint was here last week, speaking of Head Over Heels, and we love.
I love her.
We love Peppermint, and what I love is that when I was teaching theater in Jersey, people used to ask me, "How do you get a start?" And sometimes the start is know who's putting on stuff and be brave enough to ask and tell them, "I love your work. Can I ask you a question, or can I take you for a cup of like?"
Totally.
People are more open to it now. Austin his DMs will be inundated with future directors and actors.
It happens sometimes.
It
I mean,
does.
I'm not super fancy, obviously, but like, you know, it's theater is one of the only places in the world, I think, where apprenticeship and mentorship is still so valued. It's like, it's how my career happened. And there's so many people, not just Michael, but so many people I've admired who've influenced me and, you know, given me jobs or given me advice. And when people say, how did I get to from that kid in Fargo to where I am now, doing this show with Kendal and doing all the other commercial stuff that we do? Like, I'm happy to talk about it because, you know, I had that help and that mentorship as well.
Kendal, if you don't have a story about sending a letter to Bernadette Peters and her putting you on Broadway, then this interview's over.
I wish I did.
I stage doored Bernadette Peters after Annie Get Your Gun when I was in high school. But the little theater obsessed geek that I was, I didn't have her sign an Annie Get Your Gun poster, although I loved it and I loved her in it. No, I had her sign an original Into the Woods poster.
See, you bring receipts. You all bring Austin.
Yeah.
But speaking of
I go way
Bernadette
back.
Peters in Annie Get Your Gun, I did insist that my senior year of high school, we do Annie Get Your Gun as the musical because of Bernadette Peters.
And who did you play in it?
I played Annie Oakley.
Of course. I mean, you're a Broadway superstar.
And she was very good. I've seen the tapes.
I believe it. I believe it.
And actually, to you know, a perfect circle moment is there are also moments from Kendal's actual high school and childhood theater career that are represented in Uh-Oh.
It's true.
So that's just a little Easter egg for anyone who might be listening and coming to the show.
Well, can you do me a favor here, Kendal, and explain the full title of it is Uh-Oh, exclamation point.
Absolutely.
Kendal Hartse, question mark, live and in concert, question mark. So are you live and in concert? Is it a hologram? What are we going to see?
I'm certainly live and I'm certainly in concert. I think the impetus for that title for me came from the kind of terror of doing a live concert. The idea that I'm up there doing a concert makes me go, uh-oh. Like, and the idea that people will be like, wait, Kendal's doing what? Uh-oh, is sort of what I'm going for with that. But it's this idea of you're doing something brave and you're doing something scary and it's a little bit out there. And we've always sort of I like the long title and I like we've written out the, what do you call it? The exclamation, the punctuation. Thank you. I was like, there's a word for it. Punctuation. We've written it out sort of intentionally to kind of give it a more downtown feel and a kind of a different title.
Yeah, I think the character that Kendal plays in this show sort of is her and also is not her. And as the piece goes on, you know, it's this vulnerability that Kendal's talking about of being an artist, trying to share your work, as so many theater artists do in concerts, in cabarets, and that's a big part of what this piece is in dialogue with. But this character of Kendal, who again is and isn't Kendal, she is getting, you know, more and more, I guess, upset and more impassioned, and more vulnerable as you know, as we wrestle with some of these ideas about what is it to make art in this disaster of a world that we live in, where everything is so challenging. What is the role of the artist? Everything takes so much money and so much time and so many resources for us to do the thing that we feel that we are meant to do, and the thing that our passion is, and the thing that we have to offer that is beautiful and is important. And so I think that's an aspect of where the uh-oh comes from.
Yes.
It's just that tension of like, what are we doing? And is it important? And is anyone going to show up? And I'll tell you, as the director and producer of this piece, I certainly have felt that uh-oh a lot in this process, but luckily things seem to be going pretty well.
And as the actor and choreographer and costume designer
and author,
I've had many an uh-oh moment myself, where it's, you know, you're spreading yourself kind of thin in a situation like this, but you're also allowed a lot of control, which is really exciting.
Very, very exciting. That's why everybody watching needs to get their tickets June 14th and 15th. It's at 243 Thompson Street at the gym at Judson Church. And the tickets are only $28.52 with all
That
the
includes fees.
including fees. So they're not doing this as two artists to pay their rent here. They're doing it out of love. And they're really doing it you can't even get an entire pizza for $28 in New York City.
That's
so
true.
You don't have an excuse to not be there and to see this. When I look at Kendal, when I look at the music, the little listing that you give, you talk about Jeff Buckley, you talk about flops on Broadway, you talk about, opera. This is not you coming out and singing, give them that old razzle dazzle. It's not your grandma's cabaret show.
It certainly isn't. Something that was important to me was to show that variety. I think so often as artists, a lot is demanded of us. Showing all of our facilities is something that is really in demand. And I was curious about pushing myself vocally to explore as many different styles as possible, both because I think it's sort of crazy to go to a show and to hear Golden Rainbow and Tosca in the same night. I think, what's going on there? And also, as a performer, it's exciting to me to challenge myself, to stretch myself, to say, am I capable of this? How far can I take this? It's dangerous in a really thrilling way.
Austin, what do you hope when this is all over and people come and see it? What do you hope they take away from this experience, what this night of theater and performance is going to be?
Well, so much of our community, is this community, this beautiful community of theater artists in New York, and so, and also theater audiences and people who are just interested in this crazy thing that we do. We could all sit at home every night for the rest of our lives and just watch Netflix, and we would never run out of TV shows and movies and things to watch. But yet, there's something that brings us all to, and that's the live and in concert part of the title. There's something that brings us all to want to be in this room and to experience the artist bearing her soul for us. And I hope that people, when they come see this, understand what art does in our lives and how it matters in a new and renewed way, even though the world is so challenging. I think the beauty and the pain and the stress of making all of this can really be transformative. Mm-hmm. It can really be thrilling and exciting. And it's what drew me to it as a teenager. I'm thinking now so much about my childhood because of this lovely conversation, but it's like nothing else in the world. And I think there's so many things about this piece that play with the experience of being here live, the experience, it's kind of meta referential. It's again that inspiration from things like the Wooster Group and Joan Jonas. Like it's the piece is also kind of about itself. And so I just think there's so much value and so much, entertainment and humor and thrills in just looking at we are doing this and it matters, and to reaffirm that for ourselves, for our audiences, for our community. I think it, hopefully if we pull it off, if we do it right, it's going to be really beautiful and, and funny and exciting. So that's my goal.
It is. It absolutely is. Kendal, for you, he gave you no pressure. He just said it was going to be, I don't know, life-affirming moment of theater. I don't know the words, but there were words that he said that you could see how much he adores the work that you do. Do you hope at the end of it, people will leave feeling what?
I think at the end, I want people to leave feeling both inspired and thoughtful. I want them to keep thinking. I want it to stay with them. My favorite art is the kind of thing that I wake up the next morning and I go, oh, that part. Oh, it means this. I didn't even think about that. I want that continuation. I long for sort of the inner, sort of the dialogue you have with yourself after you see a piece of art. That's sort of ultimately what I'm always hoping for. And I always say that actors are sort of empathy machines. Like our job is empathy. Our job is to get up there and either show you yourself, even if I don't look like you, I'm still somehow showing you at the end of the day. And that's also what I want. I want, our colleagues and our friends, obviously, to come and see themselves, and even people who aren't artists to come and to see themselves. A lot of what we're playing with is sort of these universal experiences and sort of broad themes to hopefully bring people into it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I want people to think, and I want people to feel.
Well, I'm excited. People, this is what we're going to do. You're going to get your tickets June 14th and 15th. It's at 7:00. It's at the gym at Judson Shirts down in Thompson Street. And you can get your tickets for $28.52, including fees. You go to Eventbrite. We can follow them both on Instagram, and all their information and everything is going to be below us. So you just click the links. If you're listening to us, the links are below. If you're watching us, the links are below. The links are below. And I want you to break legs, have an amazing rehearsal process as you get ready to do this. You guys are inspiration that you could work together and be together.
It's nice.
It's pretty special.
We haven't gotten into it really either. So we've been getting along throughout this process, which is pretty thrilling.
And I love that you two can be artists and collaborators and also have a personal life, but also a beautiful artistic life together and apart. It must be really exciting to come home and chat about all the amazing things that you both get to do. And the journey has just begun. The best is yet to come.
Thank you.
So. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's been really lovely, and I think this show will hopefully reflect how wonderful this collaboration has really been.
Kendal, come back the next show you're in, the next events you have, the next TV theater, whatever you got going on, just come on back.
Absolutely.
And Austin, you can always send every Seymour and Audrey from Little Shop to my show. It's fine. Just I'll pencil them in. They're amazing. The work you do over there is amazing. Go see Little Shop.
Well, we've been so lucky. Yeah, I've been so lucky to get to direct these incredible people in the best musical in the world. Let's be honest.
It is, and it's done so amazingly there. It's the best time you can have.
I agree.
Go get it. Go get a ticket and see it. Thank you. Break legs. So nice to meet you.
So much. This has been amazing.
What a pleasure. Thank you.